in my domain, got the whole crowd screaming out our name. It's a blowout, it's a hurricane, it's over before you know it. While you shaking, we're a dynasty in the making. We're the royalty, now we're breaking down the enemy. Move over for the soldiers. Take a swing, I can take a hit. If we die, it's fine, we live for this. It's all for this. We're gonna stand on top with our hands in the sky. Gonna raise our cup to the stadium lights. For the glory, for the glory. We celebrate with the city tonight. Hear the hometown cheer, it's the ultimate high. For the glory, we do it for the glory.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome here as we get set for race number 12 of Season 6 of the NNSCRA Hersheys Cup Series. We're getting ever so close to All-Star Race Weekend. We've got tonight's race and next week at Richmond before that break takes place, and then we begin what is called the chase towards the chase for the championship. But several drivers have already thrown their name into the ring for a chance of maybe being in this season's playoff system, the chase for the championship. But we're getting ready here tonight for the running of the AAA 400 Drive for Autism, and it's under the lights, as I mentioned, which means these drivers will have a little bit more grip to work with, and we could see a lot of side-by-side racing during the course of this 60-lap event. A lot of times when we go down on the pit road grid and we ask drivers, how do you win here at Dover? 9 out of 10 drivers will tell you track position. Brooke Allen is still looking for her first Hersheys Cup Series victory, and she starts on the pole position here tonight. We'll have to see if that pole may be what gets her en route to her first career win in an NNSCRA main series. Alongside of her, it's an all-female front row. Kat Batson lines up on the outside of row 1 in that Lincoln Continental, still looking for her first win since Season 4 back at Watkins Glen. See if she can maybe end her winless streak, as it's all Michael Norman Motorsports on the inside of row 1 and 2. Daniel Gilbert lining up behind his teammate, looking for his first win of the season. And K Shearer, who picked up his first career Hersheys Cup Series win here 1 year ago, he's going to line up on the outside of row number 2, trying to see if he can go back-to-back here at the Dover International Speedway. We're going to go down trackside in a moment to get those most famous words in motorsports, but I think I should mention that coming into this race currently, 16 spots are available to drivers in the playoff system, and so far we have had 12 different race winners, and all of them are in the top 30 in points. So only 4 spots currently available for drivers to get in via the point standings, and it could end up being down to 3.
Drivers, start your engine!
After tonight's race, we have another different race winner. I wanted to finish the point, but I was going to get cut off by the command, so that's why there was that pause. What a race we had last week, though, at Baja Rally. The first timed race ever in NNSCRA Hersheys Cup Series history, which saw J Arndt go to victory lane, and as a consequence, this is your top 10 in the point standings coming into this race, presented by Golden Corral. Brandon Gonzales, who rolls off from 5th here tonight, is your points leader. 12 points in hand over 2-time winner Alex Drayton. Joshua Collard, who had the runner-up finish last week, is 3rd in the standings. Jordan Anderson currently is 4th, with Tim Walsh sitting in 5th. The rest of your top 10 in the standings, Dylan Poteet is in 6th. J Arndt jumped up to 7th in the points with his win. Zachary Fitzwater, our winner from a couple of weeks ago at Kansas, is in 8th. Joseph Srigley in 9th, and Kyle Mathews comes into this race currently 10th in the point standings. We mentioned 7 race winners. They're in the top 10. For the other race winners, they're outside the top 10 coming into this race. Benjamin Miles, 13th in points. Dylan Young, 2-time winner, is 15th in the standings. K Shearer is 18th in points. And our Daytona 500 winner, Dallas McIntosh, is currently 27th in the standings. All of our former winners from this season are inside the top 30 in points, and currently their wins would count towards a playoff position. As the green flag is out, we're underway here tonight at Dover. Let's roll! turn 3. Brooke Allan trying to edge out ahead of Kat Batson. 3 wide further back there, and contact, and there goes Joseph Srigley hard into the wall in the 21. Caution will wave. The leaders were already past the start-finish line, so they'll race back to the caution. And hopefully we won't have what typically happens here at Dover, where drivers will still be over in turn 1, leaving the scene of the accident. There is a car down there as Brooke Allan leads us under yellow. And it's the 21 of Srigley who has not been able to get the car refired. Hopefully nobody hit him. I don't think anybody did. Close call there as he did teleport back to pit road. So fortunately no stack up and no drivers getting caught up in the wreck that took place over in turn 1. But it looks like Joseph Srigley's day could very well be over. That was a hard impact from what I saw into the wall. It was 3 wide between himself, Kyle Keith, and Daniel Voyles that triggered that. And right now it's a 1-2 running order for Michael Norman Motorsports Camaro's Brooke Allan and Daniel Gilbert, as Allan leads us under our first caution of the evening here at the Monster Mile. It was the only portion of the field where there was a 3-wide battle, actually, and that's where the incident happens. There you see Daniel Voyles got tight off the corner, slides up into Kyle Keith, and then Keith got up into the left rear quarter panel of the Pepsi Ford of Joseph Srigley. Hard impact there into that inside safer barrier, and then he comes back up and is actually going to get into the left side of last week's winner, J Arndt, the Zaxby's Chevrolet. Wow, close call there for Joshua Collard, nearly getting caught up in it. And the reason that the 21 was still down in turn 1 when the leaders were coming back around out of turn 4, you'll notice right here that transition between the apron and the banking of turn 1. The 21 kind of gets stuck there, is not able to get the car refired, and as a consequence had to teleport back to pit road. Now, I didn't see any black smoke erupting from beneath the hood of that Ford Fusion, so maybe Srigley will be able to continue, but I think he's going to be multiple laps down, and he is going to be a damaged race car as well. A tough break for a driver that came into this race inside the top 10, the point standings, in 9th place. Under caution for the first time here tonight at Dover. And the lights will probably go out atop the pace car this next time, so we'll probably go back racing on lap 7 of 60. Brooke Allan restarts as the leader over teammate Daniel Gilbert. Kat Batson back in 3rd place. Brandon Gonzales in 4th. K Shearer 5th. Sean Gallighan will restart in 6th. 7th is going to be Benny Watson. 8th place Tim Walsh. 9th place Dallas McIntosh. And Curly Johnny Gardner will complete the top 10. There's a couple of drivers here that definitely running in the top 10 that are looking for a comeback after either a slow start to the season or a bit of a hiccup in the last couple of weeks. I look at Benny Watson there in the 24, had that solid top 5 run last week at Baja Rally. Now running in 7th place. He's trying to climb himself up in the point stands. His finish last week only jumped him up 1 spot in the points from 40th to 39th, so that tells you just how struggling a start to the year it's been for that 24 team. You look behind him, Tim Walsh was running up there at the top of the standings heading into last week's race at Baja Rally. Got involved in an early incident, finished way off the lead lap. I think he finished dead last if I recall correctly. And as a result, lost the points lead, dropped to 5th in points, so he's looking to get a comeback finish here today. And right behind him, you've got Dallas McIntosh, our Daytona 500 winner. The lowest running in the standings of race winners this season, 27th in points, very dangerously close to that danger zone of 30th in the standings, looking to bounce back in the point standings with a good run here tonight at Dover. There you see Joseph Srigley will line up on the inside line off the lead lap, a total of 2 laps down in 42nd as all 42 cars still running 41 on the lead lap. So Srigley continues on here, just trying to salvage what he can and hoping maybe some other drivers run into some issues here tonight. Srigley last week dropped from 7th to 9th in the points after Baja Rally and now is in danger of dropping outside of the top 10 in points if his situation doesn't improve by the time we get to the end of this race. Green flag back in the air. Brooke Allan gets us back underway, and we're going to have to see how much of a fight that 21 of Joseph Srigley can put up on that inside line. Pretty good fight, and that's going to open the door for Kat Batson down low to try and take the race lead away from the 3. Brandon Gonzales now gets into the mix as well there. They almost got 3 wide back there between Daniel Gilbert, Sean Gallighan, and Benny Watson. They thought better of it. Wise move. As Kat Batson takes the top position. Brandon Gonzales right there into second. Third place now is under contest. Brooke Allan about to lose it to last year's winner at this track, K Shearer in the 34. Kev's already got a win this season at Rio de Janeiro, but would love to be able to go back-to-back in his starts here at the Monster Mile as they're 3 wide further back here. Benny Watson to the inside of Sean Gallighan. Tim Walsh way up top side. Now he's kicked outside of the groove. He's going to lose a lot of position as the 15 of Tim Walsh. Tucks in line there. They get back to a double file, which is okay. Battle for the lead on again. Brandon Gonzales to the inside there in that Nissan Altima, trying to take the position away from Kat Batson's Lincoln Continental. Brandon Gonzales, a former winner this season, comes into this race as the points leader and trying to continue to grow that points advantage. Trying to make the playoffs for the first time since season 1. It was a Texas win back in season 1, if I recall, that got him into the playoffs then, but he's never appeared in the postseason since then. And he will clear for the top position. Now you're doing a heck of a job, and that's Tim Walsh. We saw him get kicked to the high side while he's been holding his ground there. He's faded back to 8th place, but that's where he's kind of held his ground, still up on that top side. Joseph Srigley got one of his laps back. He certainly would love to see a caution flag come out right now, so that way he could line up on the inside line again and maybe get back onto the lead lap. Right now, at this point in time, doesn't look like we're going to get that yellow flag. Battle is on for second. K Shearer Chevrolet, Kat Batson's Lincoln Continental. One thing I should point out as well here, too, is we had that one caution, but 60 laps of racing here for the scheduled distance. We may end up having to think about these drivers making green flag pit stops if this thing goes green to the end. Gonzales will now put Joseph Srigley 2 laps down once again, so any hope that Srigley had of the caution coming out, gaining one of his laps back, has gone away for the moment. And that now puts a lap machine, and an up-to-speed lap machine to boot, between the leader Brandon Gonzales and this battle that continues to heat up for second place. We saw Brooke Allan out in front for the beginning of this race. She is now faded back into the 5th position. Her teammate Daniel Gilbert getting around her for 4th, and now she's being hounded for that top 5 position by a couple of Chevy SS's, a few Chevy SS's actually, Gallighan, Tim Walsh, and Benny Watson. Watson right now the highest running rookie on the track. Not too far back is another rookie, R Reynolds there in the 69 Ford Fusion. As we move back up towards the front of the field there, Kat Batson and K Shearer have been reeled in by Daniel Gilbert. That is a battle for second place. Right now, Brandon Gonzales paces the field. We're going to step aside quickly for a commercial break, and we'll be right back to the action here at the AAA 400, driven for autism, Drive for Autism, if I can get the name right, at Dover, so don't go away.
This is the story of a boy who didn't talk for a long time. The boy liked things to always be the same. Any changes would scare and upset him. The unknown was an unfriendly place. The boy was very sensitive to lights and sounds. So he built secret hiding places where they couldn't get in. The boy didn't like looking people in the eye. He wasn't trying to be mean, it just made him feel uncomfortable. Sometimes he would flap his arms again and again.
One day, I found out I had something called autism. My family got me help. Slowly, I found my voice and learned all the ways I could live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
Welcome back here as we continue on the AAA 400 Drive for Autism. Brandon Gonzales is your race leader right now, and he's actually really gapped himself back to a pretty good battle for second place that's going on behind the current lap machine of Joseph Srigley. K Shearer there with his teammate Tim Walsh. They're working to the inside. Kat Batson and Daniel Gilbert on the outside. And this is going on almost 2 full seconds behind the current race leader, Brandon Gonzales. Brandon Gonzales, of course, last win that he got was when we were at the dirt track of Eldora. He won the first dual race there, marking his 3rd career Hersheys Cup Series victory. His other 2, season 1 in Texas, and of course last season breaking that very long winless streak that he had when he took the checkered flag at the road course of Lime Rock. And this is the battle still for second. Keep in mind the 21 of Srigley is not in the lead lap. He's 2 laps down in 42nd. All 42 cars are still running, 41 of them on the lead lap at this point. We're getting close to the halfway point of this race as Tim Walsh will complete the pass on K Shearer. Of course, K Shearer, the defending winner of this race when he won here as a rookie 1 year ago, and that clinched him a chase berth. You talk about chase berth, Brandon Gonzales, last time he took part in a Hersheys Cup Series chase was back in season 1 after that win at Texas. He has not been in the championship hunt since the first season of Hersheys Cup, and of course with 1 win this season that puts him in the hunt for it. But if he can join Dylan Young and Alex Drayton as a 2-time winner this season, that all but locks him up a spot in the playoffs. And also keep in mind the fact that he comes into this race with a lot of momentum. He's the points leader coming into this race. So certainly a lot of things are going right for the driver of the number 23 Splatoon Nissan Altima, especially here today at Dover. And that gap between him and second place continues to grow. Not only does he have over 2 seconds in hand back to second place Tim Walsh, but he also has that lap car of Joseph Srigley between himself and that battle for second. And Srigley, as we have noted, is up to speed. The only reason that he's 2 laps down, if you're just joining us, got involved in an early wreck here, an early caution, and got caught on the transition between the apron and turn 1's banking. Had to teleport to pit road, but didn't really sustain a whole lot of damage, even though he did kind of nose it into the inside safer barrier here on the front straightaway. Tim Walsh is trying now to get by Joseph Srigley. Nice move there as he'll duck to the inside. Tim Walsh winning earlier on this season at the road course of Sonoma that ended a winless streak he was on. Now trying to pick up his 2nd win of the year. Tim Walsh has never won 2 races in a single season, nor has Brandon Gonzales. And how about the driver that does have 2 wins this season, Alex Drayton, running very solidly in that 4th spot in the 77. Drayton coming into this race 2nd in the point standings, only to Brandon Gonzales, so the top 2 in the point standings having very solid outings here today. And how about Benny Watson running in there in that 5th position, right now the highest running rookie on track. Of course, Benny Watson coming off a career finish last week when he finished top 5 at the Baja Rally Raceway. Looking very good here as well, just trying to get his season turned around after a very struggling start to the season for that machine out of Flying Aces Racing. Jump back here, and there's a good battle that's heating up for the 6th position. Kat Batson in control of it for the moment, but having to hold off a couple of the Fitzwater Australia Racing cars. Johnny Gardner in the 7, Shane Lake in the 55. Now the battle looks like it'll be on for 7th place between those 2 teammates, as Lake will try and make the move there on Gardner, and he will more than likely complete the pass. Got a couple of rookies up here having good runs. We mentioned Watson. We're looking at Shane Lake, and not too far behind them, trying to crack the top 10 is the 69 of R Reynolds out of K Shearer Racing Tech, looking very strong there. Not too far back is the 89 of Jordan Anderson. So, you know, there's some tracks that we go to that rookies are very easily able to take to. They're able to learn it very quickly. I mean, we kind of saw how Dover was a track a rookie could learn how to run well at when we saw K Shearer last season take the checkered flag as a rookie. And, I mean, right now it's looking like Dover is one of those tracks rookies are able to learn very quickly on how to run. I can tell you from experience, Dover is probably one of my favorite tracks to run online with, and so, like I said, you know, with that being said, this is maybe one of the easier tracks for a rookie to be able to maybe have a chance of winning, as We just had a change for third place there. Compliments of the lap machine of J Srigley. Alex Drayton now moves to the podium, moving K Shearer back to the 4th position. And now the top 4 have been able to clear themselves of the 21. Benny Watson next in line. Tim Walsh, after breaking free of the 21 of Srigley, is now starting to slowly reel Brandon Gonzales back in. Last time was 2.07 seconds, just a little over 2 seconds. Let's see if it grows or shrinks this time. Actually, that time, Brandon Gonzales gained another 2/10. Should also bear in mind as well, when we ran the truck race here yesterday, we didn't have green flag pit stops, but we only had 40 laps on the scheduled distance. 60 laps here today, and even with that only caution we had, none of the race leaders came to pit road. So if this thing, the way it's shaping out, is going to continue to go green towards the end, we may end up seeing green flag pit stops here at Dover. And this is one of the most difficult pit roads to get onto. You can see right there that pit road entrance. It's a very small entrance. You have the wall to contend with that separates pit road from the racetrack, and the transition from the banking of turn 4 down to the very flat apron. It's very, very difficult, especially when you're trying to get down to pit road speed, which is, if I'm not mistaken here, I believe it's 40 miles per hour. Might be 35. But Brandon Gonzales right now, I think all he's worried about is just running qualifying lap times, because he continues to grow the distance between himself and Tim Walsh, now over 2.5 seconds back to the 15. So if we do end up having green flag pit stops, I think it's really going to come down to the number 23 pit crew as to whether or not Brandon Gonzales is going to be leaving Dover as a 2-time winner this season. Of course, you think back to his first win this year at Eldora, pit crews didn't really come into play because of the fact we were at a dirt track. There's very little tire wear. The fuel conservation wasn't really necessary, since it was kind of, when you consider it, the duels were kind of like dash races. Now, it could very well be up to the pit crews as to who's going to win this race. As we ended up having another change for position. Shane Lake is now the highest running rookie on track, just got around Benny Watson. More than likely that was due to the machine of Joseph Srigley maybe playing a factor into that. So Shane Lake running very strongly there in the 55. We saw him get around Johnny Gardner. He got around Kat Batson, and now around Benny Watson, and looking for what I believe would be his first, no, it would be his 3rd top 5 of the season. Shane Lake's had a pretty good rookie season so far. He comes into this one 23rd in the point standings. He's 4th in rookie points, 8 points back from the current points leader. That's Jordan Anderson, looking for another position on track as he got to the back bumper of K Shearer. It looks like he's going to complete the pass. Well, not yet. Maybe he'll complete the pass down here into turn 1. He has the inside line, although as these tires have heated up and are wearing down, that outside line might be getting some grip off the corners. But Shane Lake will prevail, and now he will move into the 4th position. I think Shane Lake may have one of the fastest cars on track next to the current race leader, Brandon Gonzales. But I've been looking at the ticker, and slowly but surely Tim Walsh was reeling in Gonzales. Now he's starting to lose some ground again. And I think a reason for that could be because Alex Drayton is starting to catch him. When you're out in clean air, you got nothing but forward speed, but if you got a car that's back behind you, I mean, you see right there how Shane Lake was able to close up the distance between himself and the 77. A lot of people misconstrue that for the fact that the 55 is getting the 77's draft. There's no draft really here, especially with the short straightaways that we have at Dover. What it really is the 55 is taking the air off the 77 and almost literally like a fish being reeled in. He is dragging the 77 back to himself. So that's how the kind of the aerodynamics work at these type of racetracks, and that might be why we saw Tim Walsh starting to lose some ground on Brandon Gonzales right when it looked like he was starting to maybe close up the gap to himself in the 23, because the 77 was behind him, was pulling the air off the 15, and was actually pulling him back as we have pit stops beginning, and it's going to start with the 23 of Brandon Gonzales. I can't say I'm really that surprised. Brandon Gonzales has been setting some really blistering lap times. So he must have used a lot more fuel than these drivers. Looks like he's the only one to come to pit road this time, and it's happening with 15 laps to go. Now here comes Tim Walsh, Alex Drayton, and others. They're going to come to pit lane, and that's going to turn the race lead over to the 55 of Shane Lake. So now it comes down to pit strategy. But I think that a lot of drivers are really going to have to utilize some really good strategy if they're going to be able to get off pit road ahead of Brandon Gonzales. Caution's out! Yellow flag is waving right in the middle of green flag pit stops. And Shane Lake's going to lead us to the caution. We've got smoke on the front straightaway. Oh, and that's Keith Batson in the 39 that's down there on the apron heading into turn 1. Yellow flag is out, and this changes up everything. What a horrible time for a yellow flag to come out. And it's coming out nearing 10 laps to go. And now Shane Lake and the others that did not come to pit road under the green flag conditions, they're going to get to pit here under yellow. And, okay, I thought for a moment there Benny Watson and others weren't going to come to pit road. I'm thinking, why? Oh, boy. Well, this hasn't happened for a while at Dover, but I have a feeling with the way that this caution came out during the cycle of green flag pit stops, we're going to have the race leader start behind a number of drivers on the tail end of the lead lap. It looks like it's only a 2-tire stop. Was that left sides only for Shane Lake? That's surprising because here at Dover, usually it's the right front that is the biggest tire that has to deal with wear, especially with the concrete surface and the banking of these turns. But they went with looks like left sides only for the GMAC number 55, and it looks like he's going to win the battle off pit road just barely over Benny Watson. But the question is, with the way the caution came out and where everyone crossed the line, who is going to be the race leader when we go back green? Let's take a look and see what brought out the caution for only the second time here today at Dover, and right in the middle of green flag pit stops in the closing stages of today's race. I was thinking perhaps it was something with drivers checking up after some drivers are coming to pit road, but no, they were 3 wide, about 2 rows deep back here. And there you see the contact starting between, I think that was Jessica Shelton and Emmanuel Hartnett that sent Shelton up into her teammate Kyle Mathews. Last week's winner John Arndt got a piece of it as well. Dylan Young might have gotten a little bit of cosmetic damage, and there you see Batson get spun around again after more contact from Hartnett across the nose of the defending champion Trent Dunham. Batson gets the wall, Hartnett gets the wall, Mathews is, don't think he hit the wall, but he got another little hit there from Emmanuel Hartnett. And of course, NNSCRA officials have it to throw the caution, especially now that you see right there, there's that transition from the banking of the front straightaway to the apron, and the 39 of Keith Batson not able to get the car refired. So NNSCRA officials having no choice but to throw the caution flag. And as I said, this is definitely going to jumble up the field. It's going to take NNSCRA officials a little bit of time to get this field reorganized as to who's running where, who needs to be positioned where on track. So we're going to step aside for our final commercial of the evening. We will be back in 30 seconds. Don't go away.
Look at me. Hey.
Raymond, look at Mommy.
Maybe the light hurts his eyes.
Maybe she's just not hungry. Maybe he can't hear us. Maybe we're not stimulating him enough. Maybe it's a phase.
Avoiding eye contact is one early sign of autism. Learn the others today. The sooner it's diagnosed, the better.
Green flag will come back out with 9 laps to go. Shane Lake is the race leader. And here you see he's going to be starting behind a number of drivers that came out behind the pace car but ahead of the race leader when the cycle of pit stops began. And they are all in the tail end of the lead lap, including, as you can see right ahead of him, the 23 of Brandon Gonzales. What a tough break for him. A terrible time for that caution flag to come out. It'll be Shane Lake the leader, Benny Watson in second, Kat Batson third, Johnny Gardner fourth, Zachary Fitzwater there in fifth, 6th place, Dylan Poteet. 7th is Jordan Anderson. Then Charles Sandfer, Sean Gallighan, Elijah Gilbert. That's your top 10. How about Fitzwater Australia Racing? 4 drivers in the top 10, restarting 1st, 4th, 5th, and 7th. And you look on down, we're going to give you the running order here. You can look on through the running order here of who's going to restart in where. There's the drivers that are restarting ahead of the leader, but behind the pace car. Tim Walsh, Alex Drayton, K Shearer, R Reynolds, James McCloud, James Richardson, Levi McIntyre, and Brandon Gonzales. And 2 cars are off the lead lap. Srigley 2 laps down, Batson 3 laps down as the green flag is back in the air with 9 laps to go. Drivers just ahead of the 55, hoping for a quick caution as we have a battle for the lead maybe. Watson sticks his nose down to the inside, can't make the move. Shane Lake gonna throw the block. See up ahead there, Tim Walsh, Alex Drayton, they're battling for position. Watson again to the inside here in 1, and he is there alongside a couple of rookies battling side by side potentially for the race win. Kat Batson right there, waiting to see which line's gonna open up. They're double wide ahead of the race leaders, Gonzales and McIntyre. Watson, I think he might have Shane Lake cleared. Nope, he got loose off the corner. Lake is still there. Now Watson clears him going into turn 1. With 7 laps to go, Benny Watson, the new race leader in the 24. Lake back to 2nd. Battle may be on for 3rd. Zachary Fitzwater to the inside of Kat Batson. His teammate J Gardner right behind him. Ooh, Fitzwater having to make sure he doesn't drift up the track into Kat Batson. Batson will hang on to 3rd place for the moment. Now Benny Watson out in front. Shane Lake trying to reel the 24 back in. And if Watson has to start dealing with the drivers ahead of him here on the tail end of the lead lap, that could bring Shane Lake, Kat Batson right back into the picture for this win. You got James Richardson, Levi McIntyre, Brandon Gonzales just up ahead there. Gonzales, who dominated the early portion of this race, was looking like he was going to take this checkered flag, but what a horrible time for the caution to come out, and it may have cost him his 2nd win of the season. They're double wide ahead again of the leader. Benny Watson got to be smart here, as he has 4 more circuits around this mile concrete raceway to try and pick up his 1st win of his career. Benny Watson, of course, we mentioned last week, finishing top 5 at Baja Rally. It jumped him up only to 39th in points, but he would love to pick up a victory. Think about his career. Started out season 1 of the Pizza Hut X Series with a couple of wins, won the championship. But after that, not a whole lot to speak of. His best finish after that was a 2nd place to teammate Jay Jefferson at Talladega in season 3. Then jumped up here to the Hersheys Cup Series, hit a huge skid at the beginning of the year, a number of DNFs. Right now, though, trying to find the silver lining in the gray cloud as we got a new 2nd place driver. Zachary Fitzwater just worked his way around teammate Shane Lake. Now it's going to be Fitzwater to battle Benny Watson maybe for this race win. Watson still running the tire tracks there. Brandon Gonzales hasn't tried putting any of the traffic between him and Zachary Fitzwater. Now he'll go to the inside. Fitzwater, though, is right there on the back door, knocking hard. We got a car coming to pit road, a couple of cars. Jessica Shelton, Emmanuel Hartnett, but the white flag was just displayed for Benny Watson. Last week it was his teammate J Arndt who took his 1st win of the season. Watson trying to do the same here 1 week later. Through tier 3 and 4 for the final time, for the 2nd time in back-to-back races at Dover. A rookie will get his 1st win of the season. Last year was K Shearer. This season, Benny Watson is a winner in the Hersheys Cup Series, taking the AAA 400 Drive for Autism. He becomes the 2nd rookie to take a checkered flag this season, the 1st being, of course, Joshua Collard at Bristol Dirt, and Benny Watson now takes a checkered flag, and now the big question is, can this team, now with a 1 in the win column, can they get up into the top 30 in the points to have Benny Watson a chance at a chase berth in only his rookie season of the Hersheys Cup Series? What a battle there at the end. Shane Lake and Benny Watson, and then it came down between Watson and Fitzwater. Fitzwater was looking for his 2nd win of the season. but just didn't have enough time. And all of this a result of that caution flag coming out right in the middle of green flag pit stops. Zachary Fitzwater going to have to settle for second, but what an overall day for Fitzwater Australia Racing, as Johnny Gardner was 5th, Shane Lake was 3rd, and Jordan Anderson 7th behind the 59 of Fitzwater finishing runner-up. All 4 cars finishing in the top 10. What a performance for them today. Kat Batson will break them up in 4th place with a nice top 5 run. Dylan Poteet going to be, after losing the points lead last week, he's going to have a solid top 10 run in 6th place. I don't know if that's going to be enough to take the points lead over next week or not. Elijah Gilbert, great run for him in the 8th position, as we had 4 rookies finish in the top 10 here today. Charles Sandfer, after the heartbreaking runner-up finish he had, or actually it was a 3rd place run, I should say, last week at Baja Rally, he gets another consistent run in 9th, and Anthony McCrury is going to complete the top 10 here today at Dover. You can take a look here at the rest of the full finisher results, as we had a little bit of an issue with recording, so this is the full finisher results here for you to be able to look at. But Benny Watson, would this be able to move him into the top 30 in points, or does he have a ways still to go? Coming into this race, let me just see what the gap was between himself and 30th in the point standings. It was a total of 35 points. I don't know if he had moved up enough to get into the top 30 in points already, but one thing I do know is he's locked himself up a spot in this season's All-Star race with this win. Last chance for a driver to get into the All-Star race as far as a points-paying event will be next week, as next week all 3 series will be finishing off the first half of the regular season with our race weekend at Richmond. Trucks, Pizza Hut X Series, and Hersheys Cup Series action going to be coming up for you next. But Watson with the win here today at Dover. It's his first win of his Hersheys Cup Series career. Hope you guys enjoyed today's race. If you did, be sure to give us a like, subscribe, become part of the crew today. We've shown your full feature results now. Here are your rookie points and your overall points heading into next week's race at Richmond. And then we're into the kind of all-star break, where we'll have, of course, our all-star open and our all-star race. You won't want to miss any of that. Till then, though, I've been Seth Cole. You've been watching production of the NCRA Offline Racing as best. So long from the Monster Mile.